Hello everyone, welcome to today's class. How are you all doing? So, I'm going to finish the remaining half of the last class today. Once we are done with this, I will conduct the other class. Okay? So, did anybody practice Java? Now let's open Eclipse. Okay? So, have you heard of increment and decrement? So today excuse me, we'll be learning about pre-increment, post-increment, pre-decrement, and post-decrement. So increment means progress or increase in value, and decrement means reduction or deduction. Okay, so now let's create another class. So this class is called in pre-increment and decrement. So increment stands for the plus sign. Okay, so it is the command for increment, which is increase the value of attached variable by one. Okay, so like a plus plus. So the plus sign is directly a command. This is a command itself. It's not like the assignment operator or arithmetic operator. It means increase the value of the attached variable by one. So the variable can be here, the variable can be there. It doesn't matter whether it's placed at the beginning of the operator or at the end of the operator. Since it's a direct command, when we say increase by one, that means one number can be added before or after. It can be before or after. So there's a system in Java for this. So before we go to the coding panel, so what does this plus sign stands for? It stands for increment. And increment means increase the value. The value can be both before or after. It means that only one number can be added either before or after. So now let's go back to the coding panel. So let's write the code here. So the code is int a equals 7 and b equals plus a, and then print the a. So it prints 7. Why does it print 7? Because it takes the value of a and adds 1 to it, which is incrementing it by 1. So we have two command line. Plus is a command itself and a is another command. So can we remember how Java codes read? It reads from left to right and top to bottom. Now let's see how this works in Java memory, okay? So we have written int a equals 6, int b equals plus a. So here, when Java says int a equals 6, it creates a box, okay? So here the variable's name is a and value assigned is 6. Okay. And when Java sees int b equals plus plus a, it creates another box. So the operator of b plus plus is spotted first. Okay. So since it's a plus plus, so it gets added 1 and the b value of b is 7. Okay. So now a is 7 and a value of a is assigned to value of b. Now why does the Java works this way? So Java reads from left to right, top to bottom. The moment Java spots the command plus plus, it executes immediately. If Java spots a value first, it takes the value first. If Java spots an operator first, then it takes the operator first. Now let's talk about post increment. So here is the code of post increment. So here we can see that int a1 equals 6 and int b1 equals a1 plus plus. So first we print a1 and print b1. So here we can see that there is 7 and 6. So now let's analyze how Java works this code. Okay. So we have assigned int a1 equals 6, int b1 equals a1 plus plus. So here a box gets created for a1 where the value is 6. And after that for b1 another box created gets created. The moment the Java virtual machine sees a1, it directly takes the value of a1 and assigns it to b1. So b1 is 6. Only after assignment, the value of a1 is incremented by 1. So it is 7. So here a1 equals 7 and b1 equals 6. Okay. Now, so let's understand both pre-increment and post-increment. So here, suppose int a equals 5, int b equals plus plus a, and int a1 equals 5, int b1 equals a1 plus plus. So for pre-increment and post-increment, so a box is created for a where the value is 5 and another box is created for b. So after the box creation, JVM encounters the plus plus operator. Okay. Plus plus means add 1 to the attached variable. So the JVM cannot directly understand plus plus without knowing what it's attached to. It identifies plus plus is attracted to A and increase it by 1, okay, making it 6. Now that A is 6, JVM A assigns A to, 6 to B. So where the number is B. So after the execution, the value of A becomes 6 and also B also becomes 6. Now let's consider another scenario where A1 is one box and B1 is another box. So A1 equals 5. So here a box is created for the variable of A1 with the value of 5. Another box is created for integer variable B1. The JVM first encounters A1, which value is 5. Since plus plus is placed after the variable, which is post increment, JVM assigns the current value of A1 to B1 for before incrementing. So B1 becomes 5. After assigning 5 to B1, JVM increases A1 by 1, so it becomes 6. So here, after the execution, A1 becomes 6 and B1 becomes 5. So do you see the difference? In pre-increment, the value is incremented first before assignment, and in post-increment, the value is assigned first and then incremented. Now let's move on to logical operators. Can you recall all the logical operators? So there are like and or, so like and and or. These are logical operators, and these are comparison operators. So let's consider an example like A equals 5, B equals 10, C equals 6. So if A greater than C and then A less than B, print hello. So checking the first condition, A greater than C, it means A equals 5 and C equals 6, which are the value of A and B. So 5 greater than 6 is false. And checking the second condition, A less than B, A is 5 and B is 10, which is true. Since one condition is false and other condition is true, so the statement cannot execute. Now let's check about the OR scenario. So here, if A greater than C or A less than B, print hello. So here, for the first condition, A greater than C, which is false, and the second condition is true. Since it is an OR operator, because one of them is true, so the result will print as hello. Okay. Now, let's say you're throwing a party. Okay. So there are adults, employed person, and the outcome. So, like, so if the person is adult and employed, then they can enter the party, and if not, the access is denied. Okay, in case one. So if both conditions are true, they are allowed. If either is false, access is denied. And for OR operator, if you are an adult or an employed, so you can enter the party, or otherwise it is false or denied. Now let's explore comparison operator in Java. So the comparison operator like equal to, not equal to, greater than, less than. Okay. Now for example, if suppose A equals 60, B equals 60. So if A equals to B, then system print hello. Since they are both equal, they will print hello. If they are not equal, since A is equal to B, if you write not condition, not equals condition, then it will be false because they are equals. Like this, you can use AND or operator here. So now let's talk about if-else statement, which is conditional statement. Okay. Now let's create a class called if-else. These are fundamental concepts that allow a program to make decisions. So suppose we write int a equals 6000, b equals 6000, and a equals to b, then print hello world. If equals to b, then print hello world. So as they are both equal, it will print hello world. So we declare an integer a and assign the value. Then we use the if statement to check if the value is equals or not. Now let's test by using OR. So here int a equals 6000, b equals 6000, and if a not equals to b, or a equals to b, or a less than 15, it will print hello world. So here you can see that a is equals to b. So the first condition is false, then second condition is correct, and the third condition is false. So as it is a OR statement, one of the condition is correct, it will print the hello world. Now, what if we want to specify what happens when the condition is not met? That's where the else statement comes in. Now, let's take a real world analogy. You go to a restaurant and order a burger. If the burger is available, you take it, or else you settle for another food. Now, let's translate this into a code. So here you can see If A not equals to B, then print condition is false, and else the condition is true. So A not equals to B is not correct because they are both the same. So the else statement will print. So here the condition is true will be print. Now if you want to combine the two variables, so here the Java virtual machine checks the first condition. If the condition is true, it executes the if block. Otherwise, it skips the if block and moves to else block. Now let's talk about combining them. So here we can see if A not equals to B or A equals to 6,000, then the condition is false. Else the condition is true. So here we can see A is equals to 6,000. So the condition is false. So the Java virtual machine evaluates the A not equals to B. Since A or B are equal, Java virtual machine skips the if block and so the Java virtual machine takes the if block and skips the else block because it is at the top and it matches the criteria. Now let's apply to what we learned to a practical exam. Uh, so here the Java virtual machine gets into the first statement because one of them is true. Since A equals 6,000, the condition is true, so the JVM gets the chance to execute this block. When the JVM gets into a block, it won't jump to the next one anymore. Once it gets into one block, it's done. It won't check the other condition. So remember what happened in the first case when we are on the no operator? No or operator. There was no operator. The first condition was false, so it blocked it. But here with two conditions, one of them is true. So the JVM gets into it. It will execute the block and it won't care about the next one. It reads from top to bottom, left to right. It takes the first statement as it says. If the first condition is true, it enters the block. If it's false, it moves to the next option. If all conditions were false, it will execute the else statement. Now, let's see how the else if statement works. So here, let me define a string password. What if we say a not equals to 6,000? So a is not equals to 6,000. It will, in that case, it will check the next statement and see if the condition is correct or not. So let's talk about how the if-else ladder works. This is an important structure in the programming. If you use an if-else ladder, you check multiple conditions. First, the if-else statement. If a statement checks the condition. If it's true, it executes the corresponding code. If it's false, it checks the next else. And if none of the conditions is true, it will finally execute the else block. For example, here if password is ABCD, ABC123, then the system will print login to Riazu's account. If password is ABC124, then log into another account. If neither condition is true, then the is else block will say it is an incorrect password. So how does the JVM process it? It goes from top to bottom. If the first condition is true, it will execute the block, and if it's false, it will continue checking the else if condition until it finds that one is true. If none of the conditions are met, then finally it will go to the else block. So suppose here how it works. If the condition is A equals B, it will check if it's true or not. Then again, after that, we go to else if then C equals A. Then else if A equals 2, then else false. So it will check first if, then second if, else if it's not true, it will go to the another else if the three of them are not true, then it will go to the else condition. So if nested if conditions are really useful when you want to check for a combination of conditions. Let's say the password of YBC123. Inside we check if the username, sorry, here's the so you can add more else if conditions to check multiple possibilities. If none of the condition match, the final else block will be executed. When using else without a condition, it's like a fallback when all conditions fail. Is the last statement if an else in an if else ladder. No conditions are checked here. It just runs the code inside the block if all previous conditions fail. Now let's run the code now. The else block will print incorrect password if no other condition is true. And remember, when JVM checks condition, it does from top to bottom. Once it matches a true condition, it executes that block and ignores the rest. So first, let's check when we mix up the password and the username. If the password is ABC123 but the username is Susie, the JVM will first check the password condition. When it matches, it will check the username. If both are correct, then it will print the correct account. Otherwise, it will print wrong username provided. This is how the JVM reads and processes if-else statement. Always remember, JVM condition reads conditions from top to bottom and stops at the first true condition. Okay, so that's it for today's class. I will discuss more new methods of Java. in the next class.